Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to the Cool Kids Lunch Table Podcast with PJ and Mike. Now find yourself a seat at their table.
Hey kids, I'm Mike.
I'm PJ.
And today, PJ is going to review the new Wonka film with Timothy Chalamet, and we're also going to discuss the originals with Gene Wilder and Johnny Depp, the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and Charlie in the Chocolate. Yeah, Charlie
in the Chocolate Factory.
Yes. So, folks, I'm actually really excited to hear PJ's review. PJ's a little under the weather, folks. He had he was absent today at school. So
yeah, I had to take a sick day from school. We got to do some remote learning because having a battle 4 years late to the COVID party.
Yeah, and
here I am.
Yes,
it's every bit as shitty as they tell you it is.
Mm-hmm.
But we didn't want to miss a week, so
exactly. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we made it to the lunch table, maybe the after-school lunch table, So, but yeah. So, guys, we always start off with a childhood memory, and so, Peach, my question is for you: when is the first time? Like, what do you remember for the first time you saw the original Willy Wonka? That's the one with Gene Wilder. The OG, the classic, the original.
I feel like the first time I saw it was in school.
Yep.
With like a substitute teacher or something where they used to play a movie. I think that's when I saw it the first time. Either that or on TV as a kid. I don't have any real outstanding memories of the first time I saw Willy Wonka. I just always remember having known the story. And yeah, the other childhood memory I have was they did something at Eisenhower Park where it was like a take on Willy Wonka, and you would go into the park and they had like this thing where they gave you chocolate at the end, but you would go through and it'd be one of those things where the room would spin around, so you get lost. Yeah, they did like a little. I was a kid. I went to that, and I remember that they did like a mock version of the factory.
Right. Oh, that's cool. Okay. Yeah, I'm the same thing as you, PJ. Maybe we saw it the same class. I always think of Charlie in the Chocolate Factory with or I think the one with Gene Wilder is actually called Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory. Oh my god. Yeah, I remember seeing in school. You said substitute teacher. I always remember I guess we'll talk about this later too. Because you don't really get to the factory until maybe almost 40 minutes, 45 minutes into the film. So I remember just being in school, oh my god, just get to it already. I remember just since school you always gets broken up because you have the first period, then it gets you get lunch, and it always feel like forever just to get to this.
And until Charlie shows up, that movie's a bore fest.
Yeah.
Until you see Willie, until you get to that. Charlie Bucket sucks. He's so boring. And the song his mother sings, "Cheer Up, Charlie." Oh, it's awful.
We are the music makers, and we are the dreamers of dreams.
Yes, a fun movie though. I do have to give the credit. It's a fun movie, especially like you said, when they get to the factory. That's when
they get to the factory. It's perfect. I love it. It's that first 35 minutes or so. It's tough.
Just real quick. So the original Willy Wonka came out in 1971. The Johnny Depp version, 2005, and here we are, 2020. Well, in 2024 now. But the new one came out in 2023. It is just simply called Wonka. Yes. So PJ, before you get into your review, I'm just curious. Is this the same universe as is this a prequel or is this its own thing? I'm just curious.
In theory, this is a prequel to the 1971 Gene
Wilder.
Oh, yeah.
I did not know.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I wanted to know. Okay, so PJ, hit us with the plot summary.
All right.
Review.
There's going to be some spoilers, folks. If you haven't seen the movie and you don't want to get spoiled, I don't know what to tell you. There's about to be some spoilers. So the basic plot of the movie is Willy Wonka is not just a chocolatier. I guess you'd call him a magician or a wizard. And he's trying to open his own candy shop. He starts the movie off. He's not a wealthy guy. He comes from with a single mother, poor family, and he's trying to make it in the world. He's full of hope and enthusiasm because of his chocolate. Okay.
Right.
So he moves to a town. He takes a boat and moves to this town, which they don't flat out say it, but you're pretty much led to believe it's the same town from the original movie.
Right.
He gets there. He doesn't have much money. He's tricked by people who own a hotel or an inn. He's tricked by them to stay in their inn. He gets bamboozled, and now he's forced to work for them forever. So this is one of the what do they call it? Like an illusion or whatever to the original movie.
Oh, yeah,
they make him sign a very long, hard to read contract. Now, if you remember in the other movies, Willy Wonka makes the kids sign a very long, hard to read contract, right?
Yes.
With fine print that you can't read. This is what the innkeepers do to him. So that's the first spot where you're like, oh, this is where Willie gets the idea to do this for the factory. So now he's forced into basically slave labor into this hotel.
Ah.
Uh, but he winds up meeting other people at this hotel that were also tricked by the innkeepers. And they all basically live in like, I don't know what you'd call them. They're almost like prison quarters. And they do the laundry for the hotel. This is a musical. I bring this up now. There is a song called Scrub Scrub,
Okay.
and they sing the Scrub Scrub song while washing the sheets,
Right.
washing linens. It is the cheesiest, corniest song you've ever heard. It's awful. It's awful.
Yeesh.
It's catchy, but it's awful. Like
Right.
once you hear it, it's in your brain. You're like scrub scrub. It stays in your brain,
Right.
but it's terrible.
Wrong, sir. Wrong.
Do we know who wrote it? Is this the
Um,
guy who did what's it called, Hamilton? Is it that guy who did it? Do
no,
we
it's
know?
not the guy who did Hamilton. I could find out. We could look it up. It was written by Paul King.
Okay.
Story
Oh, I
and
thought he
screen.
was right. He's a director. I know that.
He's also says story and screenplay. Same guy who
Okay.
did Paddington, which makes sense. It feels a lot like a Paddington movie. That makes sense.
I never seen that film, but I know it's about the bear.
Yeah.
Paddington Bear, for those who are listening.
Yep. So now he meets these people. They become his friends, and he tells them that he can get them all out of this arrangement and pay off their debts to the innkeepers. Because basically the trick is you can't afford to pay your bill, so now you have to work for them to pay it off. So he
Okay.
tells them, I could get you all out of here if you help me sell my chocolate, and I'll pay off your debts with the money. And they're all like, okay, we'll help you. And now they basically break him out of the hotel once a day so he can go to town and sell his chocolate. And that's where we're introduced to the villains of this movie.
Ah,
Uh,
okay.
the chocolate cartel.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's every bit as awful as it sounds. Led, of course, by Slugworth.
Oh.
Now, if you remember from the original movie, Slugworth is the bad guy, right? But you find out in the original
Yeah,
movie
he was
that
actually. Yeah.
he was on Charlie's, or Willie, rather, his team, right?
Exactly.
But you find out that Slugworth really is a bad guy in this one. Like, so we guess he just uses this name in the original 1971. He reuses the Slugworth name, but Slugworth is a real guy who leads the
Oh.
chocolate cartel. And what they do to maximize their profits is they water down the chocolate.
Hmm.
So they're not they water it down and they get more money by using less chocolate. So they're bad guys.
Right.
That's their
Okay.
thing. And then so now Willie is selling his chocolate. Now here's the thing. I understand that when we first met Willy Wonka in 1971, his chocolate didn't look like chocolate, right? It
Yeah.
was colorful and everything else. The Wonka bar looked like a Hershey bar, but
Yeah. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
everlasting gobstopper looked like whatever. It didn't look like a piece of the
Yeah, but like,
chocolate.
so it's really more like props and
Yeah,
candy and all
exactly.
than anything else.
The
Yeah.
candy he makes in this movie looks like pieces of plastic. It doesn't look like chocolate. It looks I didn't think they did a good job with that. I
Right.
understand they wanted to make it whimsical, but it just didn't look right. I didn't
Right.
appreciate the way they did that. So what is this magical piece of chocolate that Willie produced does? He gives it to people, they start to fly.
Ah. Okay.
So it's kind of
Are these
like
edible? Are these?
yeah, it I was going to act that's actually something I was going to say. It doesn't feel like he makes chocolate. It feels like he makes edibles.
Inside this room, all of my dreams become realities, and some of my realities become dreams.
Wonka
So,
really putting the
yeah.
schnozberries in the.
Yeah, for real. But I guess the flying is supposed to be reminiscent of the fizzy lifting drink.
Oh, I was gonna say the burp drink. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So now the cartel sees everyone likes his candy the best, and Willie sells it for cheaper than everybody else.
Right. Mm.
So now they don't like him because he's gonna take all their profits. So they hire the police and they bribe the police with their chocolate. They give him the give the yeah.
I
But
know
I
I
mean,
get it. It's a kids movie, so I have to give it
I
some.
know, but it's so tough. It's just so tough because it's as stupid as it sounds. The police officer, by the way, I don't know how much money it took to get him to do this. Is what's his face from Key and Peele? It's Keegan Michael Key. It's Key.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's the police guy that they bribe with chocolate to like arrest Willie and keep him off the streets,
Right.
sell his candy. So it's like, and throughout the movie, they keep giving him more chocolate to keep stopping Willie. So he starts off as looking like Keegan Michael Key with a mustache. By the end, he looks like Jabba the Hutt. They put him in a fat suit. I know it's gonna get worse. Don't worry. Now his friends, the people that Willie has befriended, realize, well, if Willie can't sell candy on the street, let's buy him a storefront.
Right. Okay.
Now, okay, remember, these were people that didn't have any money and couldn't afford to pay their hotel bill
Right.
and got forced into slavery, can now afford to buy
I store.
a store. Yes.
Right.
Hey, folks, for those of you who don't know, at 2055 Hempstead Turnpike, East Meadow, is a comic book store called Cool Kids Comics and Toys. They're not cheap to run. So if you couldn't pay your hotel bill, you're probably not opening a storefront. But here we are. So they show him the look what we bought you, Willie, a store.
Right.
And they designed the store, and it sort of looks like, if you look behind us, you'll see a chocolate factory.
Yes.
They make the store kind of look a little bit like that. Now people could go into the store and buy the chocolate from there.
But he made his store look like the factory inside.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
okay.
It looks like the factory inside.
Okay.
So now the police can't arrest Billy because he's not selling chocolate on the streets.
Ah. Okay.
So what are they going to do? They're going to poison the chocolate.
Oh.
But they're not just going to poison it. So now it's very much like Violet Beauregard. You know how she turns into a blueberry?
Oh yeah.
Whatever they do to tinker with his formula
Oh.
turns them into not a blueberry, but it's that sort of thing.
Right. I see.
Right. So yeah, so now we have the people turning against Willie because his chocolate is turning them into hairy monsters, or they're changing into different colors and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. But Willie doesn't give up because he's just full of hope and energy and positivity. Except now enter the little orange man.
Oompa, loompa, doompa-dee-doo.
So where did they say where he
Oh,
come from?
they do. They do.
Okay.
Yeah, you sitting down because it's going to be a tough one. Yeah. So here's basically what happens. They say they're going to use the money that they've already made and they'll reopen, they'll do their shit, whatever, right? Except now, whatever chocolate Willie has left, the little orange man comes to steal.
Huh. Interesting.
Because we learn that Willie went to Loompa Land, and when he was there, he took some cocoa beans.
Right.
And to the Loompas, the Oompa Loompas, the cocoa bean is everything. But they only make 3 per year, or there's something like that, they say. And
Right.
whatever you take from Loompa Land, you have to pay back your debts times 1,000,000 or whatever it is.
Right.
Right? So now the Oompa Loompa comes and takes the rest of Willie's chocolate because he owes him a debt. And it's the Oompa Loompa is what's his face? Hugh Grant.
Right?
Yes, it's Hugh Grant. And he's taking the chocolate. So Willie has to tell his friends the little orange man took the chocolate. And the only time anyone ever sees the little orange man is when they eat the chocolate.
Wow, this movie's kind of psychedelic.
It's kind of psychedelic, yeah. So it kind of plays more into that, like you said, that edible piece of it.
Right. Holy crap. Okay.
Yeah. So, that becomes a little like play on later on in the end of the movie.
Is it like, I know this is supposed to be a kid. Is it like comedic? Is this, I guess it sounds like they're, I guess they're trying to make it also enjoyable for parents if there's almost like a double meaning with like the
maybe
edible.
if I was on edibles, it would be entertaining.
Right. Is it funny? Well, I'll let you finish the plot summary here.
Is
So
it funny? It's supposed to be.
right,
Is it? No.
right. Does Hugh Grant start busting into songs? They start doing the theme song.
Oh, there are so many songs, but he does sing the Oompa Loompa song once.
Wow. Okay.
The real one too, like the Oompa Loompa
Okay, the
Doopa.
real
He
one.
does the
Oh
real
wow.
one. It's the real
Okay.
one. More shenanigans because, of course, they're gonna break into the cartel. Oh, how could I forget? The cartel's base is under a church. Just because, why wouldn't it be?
Right.
And the I don't, not the priest, but like the bishop or whoever that works at the church that gives access to the
Right.
secret underground layer is Mr. Bean.
Wow.
Yeah. So they have to break into the church and go underneath to try and get proof that Slugworth's a villain and the whole thing. And of course they do. And there's a whole lot that goes into it. Um, they have to break a giraffe out of a zoo and use the giraffe to.
Right.
I mean, because the way to make good chocolate is to milk a giraffe, and it's a whole thing. I mean,
Wow.
it's really just ridiculous. Long story short, they break in, they save the day. Willie is the hero and gets to make his chocolate. Right. That's how this ends. I could go on forever with all the little details to this movie.
Right.
It's just they're so
Right.
ridiculous. Um, the biggest part to this movie is one of the people that you've seen her in the trailer, the little girl.
Yes. Yeah.
She's all over the trailer. You find out she is actually a relative of Slugworth,
Oh, okay.
and that plays into the ending. And I don't know. I mean, it's just so forgettable.
Right.
The rest of the plot just kind of melds together.
Right.
Willie wins the day. He goes to buy a factory, and his factory is in fact an abandoned castle in the middle of nowhere, not the middle of the town, which makes
Right.
no sense because we know that the factory is in the middle of the town. There's a lot of songs in this. I mean, the original's a musical, right?
Right.
There's the Cheer Up Charlie song, I've Got a Golden Ticket,
Yeah. The
the
golden ticket. Yeah. Uh.
Candyman Can, and
Yeah. I love Kenny Man. I do like that
yeah,
song. Sammy Davis Jr.'s version. I really love.
yes, absolutely. Who was
And
supposed to be in the movie, I think, originally in that role, and then they didn't go that way.
oh wow.
Yeah,
And what
they
about
didn't.
Pure Imagination? That's the big hit in it, right? That's
They
really the best song, from the
they
original
sing
anyway.
it. It's in there. The problem is with all of these movies that aren't the original one. You, Gene Wilder
I
is
know.
an icon, right? He's a legend,
Yep.
and this Timothy Chalamet,
Right.
he right, he just doesn't have the charm.
I
With
don't think he's a bad actor. And look, folks, I didn't see the movie. I didn't really have an interest. I don't love the original. Like, I don't think it's a bad film. I just never fully. But I'm mesmerized by the factory, and Gene
oh
Wilder's
right,
character is
yeah,
awesome. But I didn't really because I looked at the making of this. They said originally they were gonna have, and I think this would have been a better fit. Is actually Ryan Gosling. He looks like he has the same kind of blonde, and I think Gene Wilder's Willy Wonka. He was a little demented. He's like a
yeah,
little nuts, and I feel like just from the trailers for this, he seems a little bit more like a corny kind of guy.
yeah. He does not feel at
Like
all like the same Willy Wonka.
right, like did he? I guess he takes too many of these chocolates and
I guess.
too many
So
hallucinogens and becomes paranoid. But I feel like Ryan Gosling, he can pull off that like comedic. Like I said, I can't. Like I haven't seen this film, so I don't know how. I mean, I'm going by you, PJ, but I just feel like on paper, I think he would have. He looks like it, and you could almost see how he can get demented. When I saw this trailer, it looked very too corny, cheesy for me. It kind of reminds me of High School Musical. Like this is
yeah,
like it's for kids, and I understand that. But
no, you're right, 100%. That's exactly what it feels. Feels very much like a cheesy kids movie.
I know it made a lot of money.
It
But
made a ton. People seem to like it, but I thought it was awful.
oh, I'm just curious with this too because when I saw the trailers, I says, and end up being right. I think the same person who did the costumes or set design did the Harry Potter films.
That I could see.
You can almost like
Yeah,
interchange just with the
yep.
colors, the fabric. I mean, it's very beautiful. I just
Yeah,
saw
I will say
things.
the set designs, the costume designs, all of that was very, very good. Even the cinematography on this movie and the look and feel of the whole movie, all that is very good. It's just the plot, I don't even want to say that Timothy Chalamet did a bad job acting. He didn't. He just doesn't feel like Willy Wonka. Feels like a
Yeah.
completely different character. But he was good in the role, I guess. It just wasn't the role I was expecting.
Right. Now, does he sing? I don't know if he's lip syncing or
No, he sings. He did the singing.
Okay. How is that? How is he as a
He's
singer?
fine. He's passable for a movie. Absolutely.
My question is it better? How is it better than Johnny Depp's?
I mean, if you're asking me which one would I watch again, I'd probably watch Johnny Depp's again before I watch this one again.
Wow.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I hate
yeah.
it. I saw the and to that look, folks. The one with Johnny Depp came out in 2005, which seems like light years ago. But I remember I saw that in theaters. I wasn't even. I just went to see it because I was curious.
Yep.
That's directed by Tim Burton too. But I think that movie's terrible. So
It's not great. That tells you how great this one is.
right.
I would much rather watch the 2005 one again before this one, and I didn't really particularly care for that one either.
Right. So let me ask you this question because sometimes this can be weird because sometimes bad movies can be more entertaining than movies that are just okay. Like they're just
Mhm.
boring. Like
Right.
that's all it is. So is that
Yeah,
kind of
I
where
would
this
say
movie
that
just
plays
kind of
into it. Yeah.
is this movie forgettable? I guess that's my question. Is it
Oh, it's
forgettable?
completely forgettable. That's why I can't remember every last detail. I watched this movie maybe 3 days ago, and I've already forgotten most of it.
Yeah, and the thing is, like usually like with musicals, like usually they release a song as like a single or like
Yep.
I don't besides the hits that we know like Pure Imagination or
Right.
that garbage and the Oompa Loompa song. I don't know any. I don't even. It's not like Elsa. Everyone knows "Let It Go."
Right.
I'm drawing a blank. But like Hamilton, all those songs,
Yep.
you can ramble them off. This I can't even. Or and Cancanto, that song, or
Yeah.
what's that movie? Moana. That's
Moana.
the You're Welcome song. I don't know. Or
Yep.
Thank You, whatever the hell it is. Where's the hit? You know what I mean? Like where's the hit single?
There is none.
So
There is none. I mean, if you compare the music to this from this Wonka to the
right.
1971, we were able to go through every song in 1971. And we listed almost all of them. I remember two from this one.
Right.
It's very forgettable. Here's the thing: plot aside, acting aside, you you have to have you going into this movie as a prequel to
Right.
a classic, a
Yeah,
classic.
I know. It's very right.
It's
Difficult.
so hard to pull that off because it's not going to be as good. It's not going to be as good. And you have to live up to that, and it just doesn't.
I knew you and I had talked about this in the past with other films, especially with prequels or sequels, whatever it is. I think sometimes you have to like just even this plot seems a little bit complicated. It's like kids movie. You
Yeah,
have to owe money, and I'm surprised they just didn't go the simple route where like you have maybe this guy Willie who's just maybe he's like you said, his family's poor, he's an only child or something like that,
yep,
or maybe you do something tragic. Maybe you had a sibling who passed away. I don't know. And he's very passionate about chocolate. He has a hard time making friends. He's like a weird, demented guy.
right,
Kid. He's not autistic or anything. He's just odd. And then you just have him. The town like you're never gonna get your own chocolate factory. Like kind
right.
of like Back to the Future. No
Yep,
McFly. No Willy
yeah,
Wonka has ever meant anything in the history of England, wherever the hell country it
right,
is. Like, I'm surprised they didn't do that thing. And then his villain could have been like, maybe just another bakery in town,
right.
or some other person who knows
That's
how
what
to
the movie
make.
should have been. That's what it should have
Yeah,
been.
yeah, some other nut who's maybe tries to steal his formula. He's got to prove that his
Or
really is or some crap.
the original movie gives you the prequel.
Hmm.
Why did he shut down the factory? What happened to make
Right.
him shut down the factory and then eventually reopen it for this, find the golden ticket, right?
Hey,
Why
yeah.
did it shut down? What led to that? I don't need to see him being a slave to innkeepers. I don't care. I don't
Right.
want to see him make friends with another little kid. Like,
Right.
why
But
does
how
this,
old is this? That's a good question. How old is he supposed to be in this film? Because I can't. Because that guy Timothy Chalamet, God bless him, he looks younger than what he is. I think he's in his mid 20s. Maybe he's 25, 26, something.
they don't give his age, but I assumed he was in his mid-20s.
Okay, and then the kid in the movie, the little girl, how old is she supposed to be? Is she like
She's in like maybe her, I don't even think she's a teen.
okay? So
Preteens,
he
I'd say.
okay.
He just always hangs out with little kids. This weird guy. I don't know.
Right.
It's weird.
Right. Maybe they're trying to channel the Johnny Depp one, you know?
Maybe the Johnny Depp one has a much better origin of Willy Wonka. So in this one, his mother's used to make him chocolate bars, and then his mother dies. We don't know how.
This one, that happens.
Yeah, they do have an origin. So his mother made him a chocolate bar once a year on his birthday. He
Oh,
would
okay.
get a chocolate bar or something like that. I don't know if it was once a year. That's what I think they said that.
Right.
And it was the best chocolate that Willie ever had. And
Right.
he wants to make chocolate because of that. And then he
Okay.
says, he asks his mother when he makes it big and shares his chocolate with the world, will she be there with him? And if she says, of course I will, Willie. But then she dies.
Right.
And he
I
feels
see.
like if he opens the chocolate store, his mother
Yeah.
will come back and be there with him because she promised.
Curious, do you know, PJ, if this, I didn't look it up prior. Is this based off the, like, was there a prequel to the books? Because I know
No, it's not based off any book.
right, because I
Roald
know the
Dahl does
book,
not have a prequel.
because I
This
think the
is
original book is actually called Charlie and the Chocolate. I don't know why I'm having such
Yes,
time.
the original book is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which I love. I've read. I think I have it somewhere in my house. I
And
love
and I think because the movie was such a hit, they renamed the book Willie and
Willy
the
Wonka. Yep.
Chocolate Factory. But there's no
And
prequel because I know this. I think the
there's a
sequel is
sequel
called
is
The Elevated Glass or
Charlie
something.
and the Glass Elevator.
That's it.
The
That's
Great
it.
Glass Elevator, which is not as good a book, but it's still pretty good. And actually, the reason that was supposed to be a movie at some point, but the reason it never became a movie is Roald Dahl did not like the 1971 movie.
Wow.
He did not feel like the movie was true to his book, and he was so against it that they didn't ever go forward with the sequel, with the Great Glass Elevator. Yeah.
Interesting.
Roald Dahl, by the way, I mean, he's written classics.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you're familiar with his
I'm
line of work.
I'm trying to blank, but go, PJ.
He did Matilda,
Oh, okay. Yep.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the BFG. Do you remember the BFG?
From Doom? No.
No, the book. I always call it the Big Fucking
Oh
Giant,
yeah.
but it's not the
Yes.
Big Fucking Giant.
Yes.
It's what is it, the Big
Yes. Oh
Friendly
my
Giant?
God. Wow.
Yeah, he
Yes.
did the BFG. The Fantastic Mr. Fox, James and the Giant Peach. Yeah,
Oh.
no, this guy's like. There's probably a couple of others too that I don't remember
Yeah,
offhand.
really gifted, brilliant man. Wow.
Yeah, yeah, he's so he and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and then Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator, where his obviously all of his big hits. So I mean, that guy is like a household name. So anyway, the to rate this movie out of 10, trying to be fair, trying to be fair, taking all things into consideration, maybe a 4, maybe.
Okay.
I'll give it a 4. Um, like I said, cinematography was good. Set design, costume design, all that's good. Timothy Chalamet is not a bad actor. I don't feel like they wrote the right part, but that's not his fault.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't think that was Willy Wonka. It's not certainly not the Willy Wonka we knew.
Yeah.
And all right, fine. If he didn't get to that part yet, if he hasn't become a cynical, weird older guy yet, fine. But I don't see the transition how it's going to happen.
Right.
I just don't see it there for me. I give it a 4.
Okay. Interesting. Now to talk about the other ones. So,
Yeah.
and I'm assuming most of our listeners have seen the classic, the classic and the one with Johnny Depp. So, what would you rate the original, PJ, with Gene Wilder? What would you rate that one? You know.
A solid 7.5 to an 8.
Yeah, I was gonna say an 8 for sure. An 8 for
Yeah.
sure. And what about the Johnny Depp one?
Probably a 6.
Wow. Okay. For me, I hated that movie. I would have given that movie like a 3 or a 4.
So here's the thing. I would have given that movie a 3 or a 4 until I saw this one.
Right. Wow.
Because I saw the new one, and then I went back and watched the other two. And
Oh, okay.
yeah, I saw Wonka. Then I went back and watched Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Then I went back and watched Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And watching all three in a 2-day span, the Johnny Depp one it's not great, but it's so much better than the other one. But I don't think Wonka is a 2 or a 3.
Right.
So
Right. I got you.
I bumped up just based on these 3 movies. I actually bumped up the Johnny Depp one. So
Right.
maybe not a 6. That might be too strong. Maybe a 5.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think the reason why I didn't like the Johnny Depp one at all, I would give it below average because I just found that I felt it was just the music was unbearable with that. And Danny Elfman did this, because he always worked
He
with
did,
Tim
yeah.
Burton. But all the songs with the Oompa Loompas, I couldn't gave me a headache, and
With Deep Roy. Yeah.
yeah. Wow, and I just remember this. I didn't like, his voice as Willy Wonka and all that kind of stuff.
You're really weird.
Very CGI heavy. I
It
did
is
like,
very CGI
and
heavy.
I remember with that one, I did like it was something with the dentist, right? Or his
His
dad was
father
a
was a
dentist.
dentist, wouldn't let him eat chocolate. He runs
Yes,
away
that.
from home,
Yeah,
travels the world.
that I could dig.
That was a good
I
origin
can live
story.
with that. This isn't a Tim Burton episode, but maybe we'll talk about Tim for
Yeah.
a second. But I feel like right after when he came out with what's it called, Mars Attacks.
Yep.
I don't really like that film. I love the aliens. I think they're hilarious. That movie should have been a lot better because with that cast, but it
Yep.
was dumb. I feel like he had this streak of bad, just dumb movies until I like Big Fish by Tim Burton. That's a great film.
That
Um,
is a good movie.
and then I hate the Alice in Wonderland things. I don't like
Oh, those
those.
not good. Those are you can't even sit through those.
Yeah, I saw Big Eye. That was good. That was like a solid small film, which he needed to do. But
I liked Ed Wood.
oh yeah, I never seen that, but I know that's like the OG. That's like what,
Yeah.
92, 93 around there. But I'm saying post his
Yeah.
winning streak, he had Batman, he had Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Edward
Yeah.
Batman Returns. I mean, he was really cooking.
He
But
the thing with Tim Burton is in the beginning with Tim Burton, that was all groundbreaking new stuff that he was doing. But
yes,
then it almost felt like every movie he was putting out, he was just trying to be Tim Burton instead of being Tim Burton.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yes,
Like,
yes,
if that
yeah,
makes sense, like he was relying too much on what made him famous
yeah, yeah,
instead of just
yeah.
making a movie.
Yeah, I think the same thing you could say for even like even the Star Wars prequels.
Yeah.
Because George Lucas, I think he kind of like the same thing.
Yep.
He almost got too caught up in his own,
Yep.
like, not on purpose. Like he's like, I gotta, like you said, he's wearing the costume of George Lucas. You know what I mean?
Right.
Where he should have just
Yeah.
done his,
No, I agree.
but yeah, I think just what Tim Burton in that film, it was like too Tim Burton-y.
Yeah. It was also for a too modern a setting for that kind of movie. To me, the charm of the original one was like you would
Yes,
go into a candy shop
right.
and like right now, if you go to a candy shop and you buy a Hershey bar or a Nestle bar or a Wonka bar, which is a real thing, or a
Yep.
Cadbury bar or a store brand bar, there's like 1,000 things of chocolate. But the original setting in the movie was like you go into a candy shop and you only had two or three brands, right?
Right. Yes.
You set it in a more modern setting and it loses the impact of like
Yeah, that's a
a
fair point.
like who cares? It's just a
Right.
chocolate bar. Like there's
Right.
no magic to it
So,
anymore.
so PJ, I'm kind of just to go back to the new film in
Yeah.
Wonka. Are there any new candy? Is there a new? Does he invent the schnozzenberry or the lickable wallpaper or the?
Yeah, there's new stuff, but I couldn't tell you the names of them. They're just so
Right.
they don't
Right.
really go into that too much.
Right.
But he does have new candies, and they make people fly, or they, you know,
Right.
turn. They essentially just gets people high. Really, is what it is. Everyone eats
Wow.
this candy. They're very happy after they eat the candy. These people
Right.
eat the candy, and it's like they're on another planet.
So PJ, I'm just gonna shift a little bit. I'm just kind of
Okay.
curious. Have you ever been to Hershey Park? Have you ever been to Hershey Park?
Yeah, tons of
Okay.
times.
All right, good. So some of our listeners, so Hershey Park is based off the Hershey Bar candy bars, But one thing they have there that is, I still love going on that ride is the chocolate. They have like basically a
Oh
chocolate
yeah,
factory ride.
it's the best
I
ride in
would
the whole
say.
park.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and when it's like two different. There's Chocolate World, which is basically like not the actual theme park. Chocolate World's like
Yeah,
where they have this like basically like
it's like a
this.
big Hershey store.
Exactly, all
Yeah.
candies, all kind of crap, and then they
Yep.
have the ride there, and the ride actually is like educational. They show you how milk, not milk's made, where how they grain
Right.
it, make it, and
Yep.
all this crap, and then it gets. I think at one point it gets a little bit wacky.
They put you in the oven and it gets real hot for a couple of minutes. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, and it smells like chocolate. And at the end, they
Yep.
give you a free little bite-sized
Yeah.
bar. I can't believe, I don't know if you agree with me, they haven't made a actual like Universal Studios or I don't know if Disney owns this or They haven't made I can't. No one's made a ride of this. A log flume.
I don't. You would think.
My
You
God.
would think.
Like I could just picture this. Like you just smack this thing in the
Oh yeah. I mean,
Universal Studios. I mean,
it's
you.
prime for a amusement park ride. Absolutely.
Oh my! I can't. I still can't. Maybe with this movie, that someone will buy the rights to do it.
Maybe.
But I mean, you
Put
make
this
a
movie
nice
out.
log
Let's see.
flume, like a what's it called? Like well, they got to redo Splash
Splash
Mountain, but
Mountain.
you make a Splash Mountain type ride. You get in the log flume thing. You go through the chocolate waterfall crap. Then you go into that weird zone where
Yeah.
he's always chopping your finger off. That whole crazy section. But they can really make they make a ton of money, man, selling the candy, the merchandising, and I just really can't believe they never made a ride.
No, me either. I'm trying to see which studio made Wonka.
Warner Brothers.
That's what I'm thinking. So it would have to be in Six Flags, right? That's usually how that
Well, I
works.
do know that Universal,
Well, they have Harry Potter, which is Warner
exactly. I
Brothers.
think they
Yeah.
made some mega deal because I'm sure they get a piece of that pie, without a doubt.
Yeah.
But I don't want. I'm not a fan of Six Flags. I mean,
Me either.
I've been there, but that's for people who just want to go on coasters,
Yeah.
But
If you want a whole amusement park experience, that's not the place to
yeah.
go. Yeah. And you could really make you can make a whole world.
Oh yeah,
The same way they have like a whole Dr. Seuss world, you can make a whole Wonka world.
right.
All a Wonka world.
Yeah.
You could have
Mhm.
2 rides. You could have a water ride. You could have a roller coaster.
Yeah.
You could have an Oompa Loompa stage show. You could do a lot of stuff.
But I
But
guess
one other
PJ,
thing about this movie, though,
right,
that bugs me is they're calling it a prequel to the 1971 movie, but the pieces don't line up to me
right,
because they tell us in the original movie that Wonka shuts down the factory
right.
because Slugworth and all the other people basically got to his employees and tried to get the employees to steal the formulas. And Wonka gets a little paranoid. He
Right.
shuts down, he fires them all, shuts down the factory, and hires the Oompa Loompas to work there.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
But this movie,
Oh my
the people that
God.
work in the factory, you're led to believe are now his newest best friends in the entire universe because he freed them from slavery of working at
Oh
the inn.
my God. I completely
Yeah,
forgot about that.
it does not
Wow.
line up. It doesn't line up at all.
And that makes it more interesting
Yeah,
too. 'Cause while he bugs out, like you said, he
right.
fires everybody and he hires them.
They don't lead you to believe that these people would betray Willie,
Right.
and they end it with him telling Hugh Grant he's going to bring more Oompa Loompas in.
Oh, I was just about to ask you, is he the
Yeah,
only one there, or is he to bring his whole family and buddies and stuff?
he's the only one there. They give him a little backstory. It's not worth getting into, but at the end of the movie, he's like, "Hey, come work for me and be my official taste tester." And they allude to bringing in other Oompa Loompas to work in the factory, but we know the Oompa Loompas aren't supposed to be there in the beginning. Hire them after he gets betrayed by his workers. So the movies don't line up, even though they tell us they're supposed to, which makes me feel like there's going to be a sequel, a Wonka 2, that shows how this all happens. And I'm wondering if he gets betrayed by the little girl who we find out was a Slugworth. The sequel has potential to be better than the first one, I think.
I mean, I don't
If
see
they
them
go,
making a trilogy out of this, but
no, I can't either because the trilogy, the third one has to be the original.
yeah.
But if they go the route of making a sequel and it's made so much money, I can't see them not doing it. I think the next one could be very good, but this first one was just not.
One of my last questions is this. I never seen this movie either, and I'm curious if you saw it. It just reminded me of I think it's just called Cruella, right?
I
With
saw Cruella.
Emma
With
Stone, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, first
I
of
think,
all, I'm gonna see anything Emma Stone is in.
right. Okay, I understand.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Anything she's in, I'm gonna see it. But I like Cruella. I think Cruella is a very good movie.
I never seen it, so
Okay.
because that movie is I guess it's a prequel or origin story.
It's an origin story of Cruella de Vil. Yes.
Right. So I mean, how is it? This isn't a. I'm just. How does that movie work? Just snippet, because I don't never understood how you make this person who makes dogs out of a fur coat. How do you make her? Is it like the movie Joker, where like she's like hey, she's a nut, and then this is how what?
It's.
No.
I've only seen it once, but I liked it quite a bit. The soundtrack is fantastic, by the way, which
What
is why it's
original
so
music,
good.
or is it
Um, hold on, let
or
me.
it's just like
It's
it's,
not original music. No,
oh, they
it's
just pick songs. Okay,
yeah, and really really good
there's nothing
songs.
wrong with that. Okay.
No, it's I think you would like the soundtrack. Hold on, I'm going to tell you some of the songs on it because I think you'll like it. That movie takes place so far before she's evil
Right.
that she's not evil yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you don't have to worry about like, oh, I'm going to root for the person killing dogs and all that other shit.
Yeah.
It's way before she turns evil. So you don't really you can see the seeds of her being crazy in the movie, but it's not so much about that because it doesn't end with her in that place yet. You know what I mean? So I mean, it's not for everybody, but
Right.
you see seeds of her being crazy. Oh my God, you can see this. This is why she's crazy later on. But
Right.
in the beginning stages of this movie, that's just an origin of like how she gets into the fashion business and all that other stuff.
Okay.
Um,
I know before we talked about Ryan Gosling. Have you ever seen La La Land with him and Emma Stone?
yes, I saw it, and I will never watch it again. But I watched it once because Emma Stone. So she got my
Right. I love that movie. Did you like that
I
movie?
could not stand it.
What?
Couldn't stand it.
Wrong, sir. Wrong.
You didn't like it?
Did not like it.
Wow. La La Land?
Yeah,
Really? I'm
hated it.
baffled. I love that movie. I love the music in it. I love the acting in it. I think she
Yeah,
won an Oscar for that.
yeah, she did. Good for her.
know?
Here's some of the
Actually, PJ, that's I don't know if you remember. That's the Oscar night when they announced Best Picture, and they said La La Land, but ended up being the wrong envelope, and they had to
Yeah.
go back.
Yep.
And it ended up being. I never saw it. I never even saw the movie that won Best Picture. I think it's called Moonlight.
Yeah, I
But
never saw that either.
but I love
Here's
La
the
La Land. I got
soundtrack
the
for Cruella,
soundtrack.
by the way. These are
Yes.
just some of the bands. The Bee Gees, The Doors, Ike and Tina Turner, Queen, Blondie, The Clash. Those are just some of the people on that
Yeah, I
soundtrack.
like that. Sounds good.
Great soundtrack. Yeah, I couldn't stand La La Land. I never want to watch it again.
Really?
I found nothing enjoyable about it.
Wow, really? Okay, I was very connected to it. Maybe the
Yeah, I couldn't
romantic.
get
That's
into
saying
it.
you're not romantic, PJ. I know you're very romantic, but I was very, you know, I don't want to spoil the ending. It just broke my heart.
No,
And
I didn't care. I
wow,
didn't care about any of the characters in that. I couldn't get into it.
damn. Okay,
Yeah, it wasn't for me.
right. Yeah, that's the same director, Damien. I don't know how to pronounce it. Chazelle. He's the one who did Whiplash. He did
Okay.
uh
Which I haven't seen, but I hear is excellent.
what?
I
Oh
just
my
never got
god.
around to it. I've always wanted to see it, and then I forgot
Yo,
about it.
that movie's excellent. That movie's you would definitely like that. Yeah.
Well, I'm stuck in the house for another couple of days, so something to
Yeah.
watch.
Yeah, that's good. It's really great. And I got the soundtrack to that one too.
All right.
Very intense film. That movie's definitely.
I heard, yeah. I
We
heard it's
definitely
very
like that.
intense.
If you don't like that, I mean, wow. So let's say a little kid came up to you and I said, "PJ, from the Cool Kids lunch table,
Yeah.
you know, I have two DVDs. Which one should I watch? Wonka from 1971 or 2023?"
The original.
Right.
I
Okay.
always watch the original.
Right.
I
And
mean,
then you would, and I guess you would say Johnny Depp over that
yeah.
version. Of the,
Here's the thing. That original Willy Wonka, like I said, that first 30-ish minutes, it's real tough. Like I just,
yeah.
it is what it is. You got to get the ticket and you got to get to the factory. I understand. I
Yeah.
wish we could have done it faster. I have some real concerns about Grandpa Joe. Here's the thing. Let's just real quick. I know we're running out of time, but the bell hasn't rung just yet.
Right.
Grandpa Joe, right? He's laying in a bed. I am 38 years old. I only just realized yesterday that it's Grandpa Joe, Grandma Josephine, Grandpa George, and Grandma Georgina or something like that. They all
Right.
have the same names, first of all. It's very weird.
Right.
Why
Right.
is that? Why are all the names the same? That's weird. The other thing that bothers me is Grandpa Joe is in his bed and he's like, if only I had that energy, I'd get a job and help us out of our hard times since we
Right.
have no money. But I'm just stuck in this bed. And then here comes Charlie Bucket. Hey, I got this golden ticket. He's like, let's go dancing. Let's just go. What a shitty person. Let his family live in hock
Right.
because he didn't want to get out of bed, but now he gets to have free chocolate and he's ready to go. What a piece
Right.
of shit that guy is.
Right. 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 I just no. You just making me laugh now because like, remember at the end of the original one when Wonka gets mad at Charlie?
Yes.
He's like, you lose. You know.
Good
I feel
day,
like
sir.
Exactly. He should have really said that to Grandpa. Like,
You really should have.
he was the one who's a jerk.
You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
By the way, speaking of you lose, good day, sir. That's in the new Wonka movie.
No.
Yeah, but Willie doesn't say it.
I knew you were gonna say that. I knew it. It's probably the girl or some crap. Don't say.
You don't want to know who it is?
No. Leave it for our listeners to
surprise.
discover it is.
But they do.
It'd
They
be like
do
their
show
golden ticket. We'll find out who says that great line.
They do show the origin of Good Day, Sir.
God.
Yeah. But
That's
yeah,
my favorite line out of the whole movie.
it's the best line.
So
I
that's-
said
it's
good
real
day, sir.
Yeah, you know.
But the original movie, like, take out the fact that that Charlie's family sucks.
Mhm.
When they get to that factory, there's something magical about it, but there's something so dark about it.
Yes.
And it's the dark part that I think makes that movie work. And that's what's missing from the new movie. It's not dark enough. Even the Tim Burton one, which is honestly not as dark as the original, is still darker than Wonka, the new one. And I think this character in this story needs that edge, that darkness to it for it to work. It's that underlying darkness surrounded by all the magical mystery, whimsical stuff that makes it unique. And this movie is missing the darkness.
I think nowadays, especially with film in general, they're afraid to go dark.
Yeah.
And look, I'm not looking for a scene in the new Wonka where it takes place in that tunnel where they're chopping off fingers and there's like
right.
all that crazy whole scene, but it's not. I mean, you see it now. There's no more real villains.
Right.
You know what I mean? I can't even Disney movies. Remember, like Jafar. You hated Jafar. You hated. Scar. You hated.
Yeah.
Who's the last one you hate? I can't remember the last villain they really had. Maybe
no, because all the villains have to be redeemable. Although I will say, in this movie, although they're not very dark, they don't put any redeeming qualities on Slugworth.
All right. Okay.
But it's just so shitty. It doesn't matter. Like, there's no real stakes. It doesn't feel like.
Well, PJ, sensational review. And I will possibly see Wonka now just to see. You have me curious. You have my imagination purifying, whatever it is.
You're really weird.
All right, folks. You know where to find us. Same time, same table.
Have a good one.
I've got another puzzle for you.
You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
Boys and girls, lunchtime is over. For more information, visit their website at coolkidslunchtable.podbean.com. Follow the boys on all social media platforms. Just search Cool Kids Lunch Table Podcast. Now get to class before you get detention.